So the bids are in for the third and final round of the takeover of Manchester United. Sir Jim and Sheikh Jassim have put their bids in, and the news around Sheikh Jassim's bid has been very loud. There's been a lot of speculative prices, some at 7 billion, some at 4.5 billion. We're going to get into what it's roughly predicted to be. A lot of people saying £5.5 billion, $7 billion is what it seems to be. But what happens now? The bids have come in. We obviously reported on it earlier, but now all the bids are in. What happens now? Where's the takeover at? What's most likely to happen? Well, that's what we're going to be digesting in today's video. We've got some news coming out from reliable sources about what's most likely to happen. Obviously, it's been said that this week a preferred bidder will be picked. If the Glazers pick a full sale, it's very likely they're going to go with Qatar. Apparently, they're not that interested in Sir Jim's offer, and that, Qatar are the favourite. They're kind of eyeing towards Qatar's offers. They're going to pick a preferred bid this week. Some sources suggesting it's likely that Qatar could be picked as a preferred bid this week, etc. So we're going to really dive into what we know about the takeover, what's happened, what the bids are, what happened next, what the situation is with Sir Jim, with Qatar, what's most likely to happen and more. So make sure you smash that like button. And of course, subscribe down below if you're new. The bid's gone in late last night. This is everything you need to know on the takeover ahead of this big week coming up. And this could be generally, and I've said this now, one of the biggest week in United history, whatever happens, because this could be the time the Glazers, after 17 long years, could be on the way out, or it could be a disaster and they could be staying. So first of all, I want to get into some of the news that came out maybe 9 p.m. last night, just before the Qatar bid went in. And this was said by Sky Sports. It was said that Sheikh Jassim is to make a final take it or leave it offer to buy Manchester United this evening, which will represent a world record bid for a sports team. And I tweeted this earlier. Sheikh Jassim, world record bid, take it or leave it, Glazers. That is what they're saying. If the Glazers reject a world record bid for Manchester United at above 5 billion when they're $1 billion in debt, the situation we're in, then they are greedy CUNTs. That's what I said on Twitter. If they reject a world record bid with the situation that we're in, they're greedy CUNTs. I don't know how anyone in their right mind would reject this Qatar bid with the state United are in, with the amount of money that needs to be invested in United. I do not get it, and this is why I'm confident and I believe that Qatar will be the next owners, because it makes no logical sense to reject that bid of over 5 billion world record for United. Yes, it's not the 6 billion you want, but this is 5 billion pure profit for you. It makes no sense for them to stay. However, when did the Glazers do things that make sense? I mean, Avram, it makes no sense to have that haircut. Still had it for many years. So, what does that mean if it makes no sense? The Glazers don't do things that make sense. But it was said, and the bid price has reportedly been confirmed at around £5.5 billion, and those people were talking about 7 billion, that was $7 billion. It looks like it's going to be £5.5 billion. Mike Keegan's saying it's going to be between £5 and £5.5 billion. Some people saying it's around 5.2, 5.3, some people saying it's around 5.5 billion. It was said by CM Winterburn, whilst the bids are closed and nobody really knows the exact figure, the word is that the State of Qatar fund bid is close to $7 billion, which is around 5.6 billion. And that was the word getting around by people who do have good connections in that loop. The rumour about the $7 billion start from people that generally have connections in and around. Mike Keegan said it is over 5 billion but not 6 billion, kind of suggested it was around the 5.5 billion mark. A lot of reliable sources saying that. It's obviously said that no one knows the exact amount, and non-disclosure agreements were signed. I don't think anyone out there really knows the exact amount, but the rumoured people around the bid is around the 5.5, 5.6 billion mark, which, considering the billion in debt, the 2 billion has got to be invested, the changes got to be made to the squad, I think the Glazers would be crazy to reject that. It was said by the Times, breaking, the Qatar bid for Manchester United is just over 5 billion, with a pledge to remove all the debt and make considerable investment into the club and infrastructure. So the Lawton Times are the other source saying it's just over 5 billion. Some are saying $7 billion, 5.5, 5.6 billion. Other sources are saying just over 5 billion. I think it'll be between 5.1 and 5.6 billion. But what Lawton Times is saying is, yes, they've bidded just over 5 billion, but this pledges to also, build new infrastructure on the club and clear on all the debt on top of this. So the debt is 1 billion. So if they've bidded just over 5 billion and the debt is 900 million, they've technically bidded 6 billion to clear the debt, and then that's 7.5 billion to build the infrastructure. So that's what they're essentially saying. The big proposal is it's 5 billion for the Glazers, but they'll probably be saying to the Glazers, but we've got to spend another billion doing this and billion doing that, because you can demand 6 billion for United, but when you've got to spend another billion clearing the debt and 2 billion doing the facilities, I think you've got to take 5 billion, a billion lower than the asking price, because it would be worth 6 billion. They would pay 6 billion, but they've got to pay another billion to clear your debt. So actually, they're going to pay 5 billion. That's the way I see it. Continuing on, it was also said on the Manchester United takeover by Ben Jacobs The 92 Foundation continue to believe that the Qatari bid, which is for 100% debt-free, is the best for the club and community. And Ben Jacobs been talking a lot about the takeover, saying that those in Qatar think that their bid is the best. It's 100% of United, it clears the debt, it's the best for the community, and he's saying this is a 100% bid for 100% of United, will clear the debt, and Qatar are very confident that their bid is the best and their bid is the strongest. If you look at the finances of Manchester United, I've said this multiple times, the Glazers can't really afford to stay at United unless we start succeeding on the pitch. And for us to start succeeding on the pitch and compete with the others, we've got to spend a significant amount of money. If they get a minority investor, they've got to spend all that money on the team, improving the facilities. They can't pocket that money. If they get a 5 billion takeover, they can say they sold the club for well grapple free, pocket that money, walk away from the club with a big fat payday, bish bash bosh. For me, it makes so much sense to sell the club from that perspective. It was also said as well that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's offer for Manchester United is more flexible than Sheikh Jassim's in terms of offer structures, but he still wants control. If Joe and Abrahams stay at the club, they won't do so with Class B voting power. So Ben Jacobs is saying, yes, Sir Jim's got this flexible approach. Yes, Sir Jim's looking interesting, for, keeping the Glazers here. But he said the Glazers don't like the idea of staying at United if they're not going to have voting power and control. They want to either be here because they've got investors in and they can now do what they want with the stadium and clear the debt, or they want to completely leave. While, Sir Jim is flexible, they want to make sure if they are here, they've got power, they've got control, and they won't have that much that unless Sir Jim allows them to, which you might as well just be a minority stake off of Sir Jim. It was also said by Mike Keegan, who's obviously been the man for the takeover, very spot on with his takeover news, that in a significant and unpromoted power play, Sheikh Jassim's offer for Manchester United pledged further amounts of additional capital and a sum that would be spent on either redeveloping Old Trafford or building a new stadium along with transforming Carrington. So what's really important to note at that is, although Sheikh Jassim's bid might just be over 5 billion, on top of that bid he is talking about, I'm going to do this to the stadium, that to the stadium, get rid of the debt. So he's saying my bid is 5 billion. But then here's $1 billion for the debt. Here's $2 billion that's going to be spent on this and that, which makes his 5.5 billion bid really go into that 7.58 billion range, because he's showing what he's going to do on top of that bid, increasing the value of his bid. Like, yes, the Glazers might not be getting the 6 billion they want from Qatar, but he's going to do this and that, which actually makes this bid and the money he's going to spend over 6 billion, which might actually say to the Glazers, this is why you aren't getting the 6 billion, but you're getting 5.5 because he needs to do this and that. And it was also said by James Ducker, the Glazer family will decide whether to sell United over the coming days. And it was said if their offer is accepted, sources have suggested that the Qataris would need at least a month to complete the buyout with a 69% stake held by the Glazers, but 6 weeks more to acquire the 31 remaining stake. So it's saying to completely own United, it could take them 10 weeks, but they could get the Glazers out in a month. When does the transfer window open? In a month. To get 69% sorted in a month is important for the transfer window. And they're saying, basically what we know on the takeover, what is happening, people, to sum it up, is Qatar's bid seems to be the strongest, seems to be the best bid, but Jim Ratcliffe's given them a more flexible offer, which they might choose. Okay? They're going to make the decision this week. They're going to pick a preferred bidder this week. That is confirmed. The Qatar bid is confirmed in the 5.1 to 5.6 billion pound region, but Qatar are offering other things on top of that bid, which can increase the value of it. That's why Qatar are the favourite. That's why the belief is that Qatar will be picked as a preferred bidder, but people cannot say that with strongness because no one knows the Glazers' intention. At the end of the day, no one really knows what the Glazers are going to do other than the Glazers, other than the Rain Group. It could be a shock. No one knows what the actual bid is. No one knows what they're going to do. But what everyone does know is Qatar are confident. Qatar's bid speculatively makes the most sense and is the strongest. So the feeling is that Qatar will be picked as a preferred bidder, but no one knows that. We have to wait out and see. But they're saying a preferred bidder will be chosen this week. But if that is Qatar, they could potentially have the 69% stake done in time for the transfer window if the Glazers move quick, which is what they want. But it would take further longer for them to obviously completely buy out the club, and they want 100% of the club. Qatar's proposal is all about rebuilding the stadium, doing this, doing that, which makes it a particularly stronger offer. And I think some of the minority shareholders like Woodward would still pocket like 17 million if Qatar become the next owners of United, so I wouldn't be shocked if he wanted it as well. It was also said by The Guardian, it was said the expectation is that the Glazer family, with the help of the Rain Group, the banking firm charged with brokering the sale, will choose a preferred bidder next week. So what you need to know on the takeover, and this was a summary of all the news that came out today because it's been news mad, is we find out next week who that preferred bidder is. If it's Qatar, it could take 4 to 10 weeks. Qatar seems to be the strongest, their bid is in this range, but so yes, Sir Jim's offer is flexible, etc. Both offers are in. It seems to be a race between Qatar and Sir Jim. What will the Glazers do? Do they want to stay? Do they want to go? If they want to go, it's probably Qatar. If they want to stay, it won't be Qatar. Let's see. But I hope you found that update at least useful in the sense of kind of knowing what's going on with the takeover, having an idea. Now all the bits of news are in, we can actually digest the news, kind of guess what the sum is, guess what's going to happen next. That is preferred bidder. We've got to wait for news on that. This is going to be a massive week for United. So guys, first of all, please do smash that like button. Of course, subscribe down below and share the video. Hopefully Qatar will be set as the preferred bidder. A lot of sources saying, you know, that is the most likely scenario, but they cannot confirm. They do not know anything. They're guessing through just common logical sense. But we know the Glazers don't do logical things. Subscribe, and I will be back tonight with some more updates. Got some news on Maguire's future. I might dive into that Rojo interview. That was quite interesting. And then if there's even more news or any breaking interesting stories, I will be live. So please do subscribe to the channel. Of course, subscribe. Of course, share the video. Of course, smash like. See you next time. Bye.